Oh, wow. I see how it is. If that card in my opponent's hand is a land, then I win the game. But if it's not, then I lose the game. Hey, hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Omar and today the deck I'm going to be playing is Rakdos Sacrifice in Historic. This deck is trying to utilize synergies with various sacrifice cards like Mayhem Devil, as well as combining Claim the Firstborn, active treason type effects with sacrifice outlets such as Witch's Oven, as well as having recursive creatures like Scrapheap Scourger and Cauldron Familiar, and having payoffs apart from Mayhem Devil like Midnight Reaper, Brace the Forgotten Gods, which gets better with recursive creatures and cheap creatures. This deck also has the Cauldron Familiar plus Witch's Oven synergy, where you can loop Cat every turn to get a damage, basically a drain for one, a infinite chump blocker unless your opponent has trample, or the creature it's blocking has trample. Also, a creature dies from Mayhem Devil, and two permanents get sacrificed, or a creature dies from Midnight Reaper, and two permanents get sacked from Mayhem Devil. So this deck is basically the enablers are, first off, Cat Oven, also Stitcher Supplier, which helps mill for Woestrider, Kroxa, finds Cauldron Familiar, finds Scrapheap Scourger. Brace the Forgotten Gods is a great card, both with Claim the Firstborn and just with a bunch of cheap creatures. You can also sacrifice Kroxa in response to its own sacrifice trigger to something like Brace the Forgotten Gods. Brace the Forgotten Gods is really one of the best cards in this deck. It's also great with Woestrider because Woestrider provides two creatures with only one card. And past that, we've got really strong 3-drops, which are our payoffs. The Woestrider is also an enabler because it's a free sacrifice outlet. And of course, 2 Kroxa to help us grind 3 Scrapheap Scourger as an aggressive creature. That's also recursive and can come back at any time. And this deck does put a lot of creatures in the graveyard, so Scrapheap Scourger is usually going to be able to come back pretty easily. Now in the sideboard, we've got 3 Thoughtseizers against slower decks with high value cards, 2 Soulguide Lantern against the graveyards, 2 Noxious Grasp against Nissa, against Yasharn, against Uro, Crosses, stuff like that, 2 Abrade, both against small creatures and against things like Grafdigger's Cage or other artifacts that we need to deal with, 3 Witch's Vengeance for, of course, Goblins, which has been pretty popular these days, and 2 Bolas's Citadels as a endgame finisher against decks that don't pressure a life total, like Control or Sultai. Alright, so that is the deck. Let's get into some games. Also, let me move myself back. Whee! There we go. Jacobs, and this is a solid hand to start things off. Got turn 1 Cauldron Familiar into turn 2 Kroxa, though there is an argument to saving Kroxa until after I played Midnight Reaper to draw an extra card. It really depends on what my opponent is on. They've got Lurrus in the command zone, or rather the companion slot, whatever it's called, and so that makes them rogues or some sort of, I don't even know, Rakdos. Oh, Rakdos Arcanist, I see, yeah. So, well, I guess I'll go ahead and play Scrapheap Scourger in that case, as it's an aggressive body and getting to attack more is good. Whereas if I play Kroxa this turn and then play Kroxa next turn, I end up with less damage overall because I miss out on a attack for 3. Now, Binding of the Titans is not a particularly good card against me because I'm also trying to mill myself, but in this particular scenario it means that I don't want to play Kroxa because if I do, it'll just get exiled. So now my opponent gets to exile probably a Cauldron Familiar and a creature. They gain 2 life, but I get to either land Gigantha by using Phyrexian Tower or just landing Kroxa, maybe even Claim the Firstborning something of theirs for potentially lethal depending on what they have. They're also holding priority on their upkeep. Oh, interesting. So they're going to Fatal Push and then exile Scrapheap Scourger. So that's actually pretty good for them. Yeah, and now they get to kill my Scrapheap Scourger, but I'm not super worried about that. I'm using my graveyard for Kroxa anyway, though I guess I don't have too many cards in it now, post-binding. They mill 3 and then exile 2. I mean, yeah. I'm also pretty interested in what my opponent is actually doing. Like, what is going on? Unbridled Growth. They're just like cantripping and they're Jund, and I don't even know what's going on. Well, either way, I guess I'll go ahead and crack Fabled Passage. Go ahead and get a mountain in case I need to do something like cast Kroxa and need red mana. And I think I'll just cast Gigantha as a 5/5. It's better than just playing Kroxa and then doing nothing else, I think. And next turn I can potentially like play Kroxa, sack it to Phyrexian Tower, and then escape Kroxa or like tap Gigantha for the extra red or something. My opponent's also on 3 mana though, but they don't have any really expensive permanents, so I really don't know what's going on. They're playing a bunch of self-mill? Huh, Scavenging Ooze. Does that kill them? Well, it depends on what they discard to this Kroxa, I guess. So if they take the 3 here, then they're just dead because I get to kill them with Scavenging Ooze. If not, this is still absolutely fine though, as I get to claim the Firstborn it and then kind of go to town. So tanking here. I mean, if they do discard a land, then obviously I win the game on the spot, but they were missing land drops, so that might be not the most likely thing to happen. And then, if depending on what they discard, I think I'm just gonna claim the Firstborn Scavenging Ooze, and then, yeah, I think actually, no, I have to do this, but then I'm gonna tap Gigantha for mana, get a red source with my Fabled Passage. Hold on, let me just make sure I have the red source. I think I do though. This deck has enough mountains. So I can cast Kroxa. So what I'm gonna do is basically I can tap Gigantha to make the second red I need for Kroxa. The problem is I also want to use the green for Scavenging Ooze to deal an extra damage. And I'm trying to think if there's any way I can do that. Also, for some reason my opponent's rope is going, which is a little bit weird. So we're gonna attack. No, I need to do it post combat. So we'll still do it and hit their like Cheville because of Luris, but I do miss on 1 damage because just like awkwardness. I don't even like miss out on 1 damage. It's just that there's like potential for 1 damage that remains untapped. And I'll go ahead and cast Kroxa. And this is good, right? I have 2 almost lethal threats. I have to exile most of my graveyard, but I think I'll survive. Right, now my opponent has to discard a card, deal with Kroxa at least, and then there's still this Gigantha going. And playing something like Scavenging Ooze would have been good before, but it's not good now. And they discarded Lightning Strike, which is not what I expected. I will say, like, Lightning Strike doesn't really synergize. And it's like clunky and inefficient, and they're not really a burn deck. I don't know, is my opponent just like Jund Luris with like just a bunch of cards that they own? It could certainly be it. The question is, do I want Bolas's Citadel? Probably not, I don't think. I'll bring in the Noxus Grasps though. And then I don't want Thoughtseize because my opponent has graveyard synergies. I don't want Witch's Vengeance because my opponent doesn't have too many creatures. I can go down like, to Stitcher Supplier, a Scrap Heap Scrounger, and I don't know, can I go down to Midnight Reaper? Is my opponent pressuring me? I don't think so. What if I just go down 3 Stitcher Supplier? Is that too much? It's probably too much. Could also go down, yeah, I think I'd go down Midnight Reaper, to be honest. Or I could go down a Woe Strider, since... Actually, I'll go down 2 Scrap Heap Scrounger. Doesn't seem great against Scavenging Ooze, and... I don't know, I think I'm probably going to be a little bit more on the defensive on the draw. So Scrap Heap Scrounger doesn't seem quite as good. I don't expect my opponent to have Grafted Cage, which is why I didn't bring in a Braid. because obviously my opponent's doing graveyard things as well. I'll go ahead and keep this one. I get to go probably turn 1 Witch's Oven, because if my opponent goes like Fatal Push into, I don't know, like Soul Guide Lantern or something, then that could end pretty badly for me. And they're very likely to have a creature anyway, so. Is this like a Stomp? I wouldn't be surprised. Well, Stomp isn't going to be great here. It's going to be a raid. Okay. That's a little bit unfortunate. I would have liked to have that around, but I think I'll be fine without it. I think now I need to play Woe Stratterns before I play Midnight Reaper to ensure that I can at least get a single card out of Midnight Reaper. If they have like a Vraska's Contempt or some sort of like removal spell that exiles. Another Scavenging Ooze, so I guess that's going to be back in their hand in 2 turns unless they mill something better. I guess I have this claim, so I just need to save it for that. Fatal Push on... Not sure about that one. Fatal Pushing my Cauldron Familiar. Another gonna upkeep, remove my Woe Strider, exile my Cauldron Familiar and Woe Strider. Okay, well that's actually fine. That's actually a pretty good play from my opponent. I mean, Cauldron Familiar isn't as good in this deck as it is in like Jund Food and stuff. So I think my opponent's somewhat overvaluing how much Cauldron Familiar actually matters to me. But I guess them not knowing my hand certainly makes Cauldron Familiar more scary, because at this point I don't really have anything that synergizes with Cauldron Familiar more than it just being a 1/1. So Guide Lantern is unfortunate. It means this Croaks is going to be a lot harder to escape. And then they get like a Scavenging Ooze back. Yeah, my graveyard is not doing too great with all this. With all this exile stuff for it. I could really use a land here. If my opponent just goes Scavenging Ooze, exile a thing, and I draw a land, and I get to Woe Shatter, claim the Firstborn it, and then draw a card because I sacrificed Scavenging Ooze, that'll just be an insane sequence. Because I literally get card advantage off of sacrificing a better creature, which is a pretty big swing. That makes claim the Firstborn like a 2-for-1-ish kind of thing, or like a 1-for-0 that deals damage as well and gets me a scry. Basically really good. Anytime you can get claim the Firstborn to be good though, it's just really good. It's one of those cards where you have to make it work, but when it works it's just great. Oh, they're gonna draw a card. Maybe my opponent's a little bit desperate for some action. It's very possible. Oh, they're just gonna Fatal Push my Midnight Reaper. Okay, well that's my land. Okay, perfect. So now I get to actually hold on to this Fatal Passage in case I draw a Mayhem Devil. Now I'm just gonna claim the Firstborn, the Scavenging Ooze. And the next turn I can escape Croaks even with this Phyrexian Tower, which can sacrifice the... Actually, I'll keep that on top, yeah. It's just good. I can sacrifice the Croaks in response to the sacrifice trigger for 2 black mana, and then use the Blood Crypt and the Fatal Passage for red. After using these two to cast Croaksa. And I have 6 cards in the graveyard, so that'll be the 7th and the 8th, so I'll even get to keep 2 cards around. My opponent has to discard 2 cards, so if they just play anything here... Yeah, now their Lurrus is gone. They'll have a Binding of the Titans, but Croaksa will no longer be in my graveyard anyway, so I don't really mind. And another Claim the Firstborn, just to make sure that even if they draw a creature, it's not going to help them. This game seems pretty over. Hold priority, sacrifice. Boom. Phyrexian Tower is just nuts. Such a good card. Like, if you can build around it, man. Like, it can be clunky sometimes, of course. You keep, like, a 2-lander, missing red, and then you just draw Phyrexian Tower, and you're just like, what am I doing? But when it's good, it's real good. Should probably be exiling creatures, right? Because of Scavenging Ooze. Also because of this Binding of the Titans, which is literally about to pop. Now they have to either not gain life or exile their own creatures and potentially make whatever Agadeem's Awakening type thing they have worse. Because I absolutely would not put it past them to have some sort of thing that reanimates creatures. Whether it's Agadeem's Awakening, which is pretty if you have a land, or if it's like what's the card? The 3-mana one that reanimates 2 creatures with CMC 1 or 2, or a creature with CMC 3. But yeah, that's just gonna be the game. Alright, well, that was a pretty easy first match. My opponent just didn't do a ton, and I got to set up my synergy and kill them. So let's get on to match number 2 in just a moment. Alright, welcome to match number 2, and this is a very good hand. All this hand is missing is a land. And I just get to, oh boy, oh wow, this is not going to go well for my opponent at all. Yikes, so I'm playing a bunch of dorky 1/1s, and I've just got Claim the Firstborn, Priest of the Forgotten Gods, Mayhem Devil. Oh yikes, they're going to need a whole lot of baffling ends to get out of this one. And I mean, obviously, they just have everything going. Like, they curved Soulward into Daxos. They play in a Johnny's Pride Mate here. It's going to be like a 15-15 next turn, but... Okay, I will admit, Skyclave Apparition is annoying. That's sort of, the card I needed. If I miss on a land here, I'm actually going to be in trouble. So I'm actually going to lose this game, most likely. I mean, if I draw land next turn, I'll probably be fine. But, yeah, now they can just, like, collect company me. If they ever have another Skyclave Apparition. Wow, Speaker of the Heavens gets to make 4/4s next turn. It is not looking good for me. Oh, wow. Well, they're not even playing well, because they should have played the Giant's Pride Mite first. It'd then trigger off of the life gain from Speaker of the Heavens being played. But, yeah, I mean, this is certainly a board state for my opponent. It's going to be pretty rough for me to get out of this one. How does it start? I guess it starts with a Mayhem Devil. Because now this makes Phyrexian Tower into a good draw, whereas if I just played Woestrider first, it would be less good. Also because I think I need this Woestrider more than anything else, since I don't have a sacrifice outlet aside from it. I'm gonna have to chump this at Johnny's Pride Mate. But the problem is the Speaker of the Heavens is also making 4/4s. Yeah, I really need something like a Phyrexian Tower, I think. It's literally one of the only cards that gets me out of this. Oh my god, I actually drew it. Holy crap. Well, I guess in that case, I'm just gonna... Wow. That is impressive. I'm gonna claim the Firstborn Speaker of the Heavens. Attack just to gain my 1 point of life. If they don't block, then I sack it to Phyrexian Tower. If they do block, then I guess I just play Mayhem Devil. Either way. And then I play Woestrider because I want to scry after chumping this at Johnny's Pride Mate. Yeah, that seems good. Could use like a second claim here, but at this point the 4/4 is the problem. Yikes. If that heads another Skyclave Apparition, I'm just dead. Huh, just a Daxos. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4 life? Or 3 life. So, I mean, this Johnny's Pride Mate is just omega lethal, but that was always true. Yep, I'm gonna attack with Daxos as well. It's pretty free from them, considering it's got 8 toughness. Go ahead and scry that away, and bottom a Midnight Reaper. If I draw land here, then I can play 2 Mayhem Devils, but I'm not sure how good that is. Honestly, well, I know I'm doing this, and then what? And then, actually, no, this is pretty good. So, yeah, actually, I like this play because I can No, I hate this play. Why did I do this? No, that was bad. That was terrible. Actually, maybe it was okay. Kill Soul Warden. Yep. And then play Mayhem Devil. Pass the turn. And then, I don't know, like, my opponent doesn't have great attacks here except for the Sejanni's. You have to be kidding me. Okay, I mean, I guess that's not terrible if they hit my Mayhem Devil. Wow, so okay, so actually, this is really interesting, and I think my opponent just lost the game here because of this. Now, had they hit my Will Strider, I'd just have 2 Mayhem Devils and nothing else. It'd be incredibly hard for me to come back. I'd have to jump a Giant's Pride. I'd be low on life, and I'd also be taking damage from the 4/4. I'd actually be, would I be dead? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 4, 6. Yeah, I'd just be dead. So my opponent missed lethal, first of all. Second of all, I get to now sacrifice that, pingless Skyclave Apparition twice, and then I get a 2/2 and I get a Scry. And I get to chump a Johnny's Pride Mate while still having blockers for everything else. And obviously I get a Scry, which could go to the top. Fabled Passage lets me... No, Fabled Passage does not change anything. Yeah, and now I get to chump with the 2/2. Get a Scry. And I mean, I take 4 in the air, but my opponent's probably not going to attack on the ground. Because like, they could attack with Daxos, but I just block with Mayhem Devil. If they attack with Skyclave Apparition, I get to eat it with Mayhem Devil. Yeah, so this way, now I actually have a couple more turns to live. I mean, putting my opponent to 40 is not the most relevant, though. Again, I'm just going to bottom it. Probably going to have to sacrifice this Woe Strider to Phyrexian Tower and recast it next turn, but I'm not doing very much with these cats anyway. I guess I can also cast Stitcher Supplier. So that, again, doesn't really change anything. That changes things, though. Hold on, so I can play Croxa. How does that help me, though? Does it help me? I can play Croxa, discard their last card, but then I have to chump this Ajani's Pride Mite still. And I have to chump with Croxa, I guess. So what if I actually just sacrifice the Woe Stride and recast it? It's probably better, and then I can chump with the Stitcher Supplier. Or I could sacrifice... No, that would just be dumb. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, right? And then ping this Skyclave Apparition. And then get back this Woe Strider, exiling claim, land, Mayhem Devil, and a Cauldron Familiar, because I don't need 2. Or I don't really need 2. And then I'm going to sacrifice this Stitcher Supplier to kill this Skyclave Apparition, mill 3 more, and then I need to find an answer to this Angel, because if I don't, I'll be dead next turn. But I guess I can string together enough pings. The problem is, if I do that, I won't have a board state left over. Hold on, that's just me dead, isn't it? Yep, that's lethal. Hold on. Oh crap, did I screw this up? I could have sacrificed 2 creatures to kill a Skyclave Apparition and avoid dying. Then I have to chump with 1 creature. Yeah. So I screwed this up a little bit. I could have made it so that when Heliod enters the battlefield, he wouldn't be a creature. Wouldn't have triggered the Daxos. And my opponent wouldn't have gained life to make that a 5/5. But honestly, I was pretty much 0% to win that game ever. So Spirit, Demigod, Angel, God, Cat, Human, human. Yeah, I mean, I have some of the same stuff. I guess Noxious Grasp is good as well. So I'm going to take out these Scrappy Scroungers. Gigantha, going to take out a Midnight Reaper, my 2 Croxas, and actually probably 2 Midnight Reapers. And run it like that. I just want all the removal I can get. Midnight Reaper gets worse because I'm getting pressured. And I need a Braids, also because I'm pretty worried about Rakdos Cage. Though Rakdos Cage does shut off the collected company, so it's not guaranteed that they have it. Okay, well, game 2 against Jordaup 7. I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest, because this should be a good matchup. This is not the best hand ever. I don't have any removal or a Mayhem Devil or Priest. Maybe I actually should have mulliganed. Huh. Yeah, because I don't have any of my good cards. Yeah, honestly, it was probably better to send this one back, but it's a little bit late for that. Yep. Oh, turn 1 Ailsid. Okay, that's fine. Because I'll play a Stitcher Supplier. And then I'm going to go ahead and attack with Cauldron. Okay, well, I meant to attack with Cauldron Familiar because there's no way they were blocking. I misclicked, but the 1 damage most likely wouldn't matter. Really not sure about that one at all. Ooh, Witch's Vengeance is probably a good one. I'm going to attack with Cauldron Familiar because my opponent's not going to block. Yeah, and then play Wolfstrider. I'm really not sure about that baffling then. Like, they could kill the Cauldron Familiar, which is Cauldron Familiar. Like, I find a Witch's Oven, and that's just great for me, right? Well, unfortunately for my opponent, I have a removal spell and Faragon's Warden. So it's just basically a green-white company, but instead of being more like Death and Taxes style stuff, like Fire Shoes' version with things like Thalia, it's more on the life gain theme. I'm actually going to play Priest of Forgotten Gods. And my reasoning is, it's better to have a Priest that can tap. If my opponent plays a second Fairgrounds Warden, that's also great for me. Or a second Dwarf or Soldier. I mean, that's unfortunate. But I'm really in no rush to cast this Witch's Vengeance because it can't really be countered by anything they have going on, and being able to untap with Priest would have been nice. Go ahead and untap. Mayhem Devil. Okay. I'm ready to cause some mayhem. I am ready to cause some mayhem. 4 mana Heliod. Isamia Heliod. And then my opponent's going to do a little bit of attacking. They're not. Okay, well, I guess I'll untap. Play this Dragon Skull Summit. Witch's Vengeance on Dwarf Soldier. So probably Soldier. Don't sack Ailsid. That's not... Just don't sack Ailsid. That's not what you want to do. That's not gonna... Yeah, looks like my opponent's a newer player. That is unfortunately not how it works, poor opponent. He's gonna go ahead and choose Dwarf. Yeah, I mean, yeah, basically I'm not targeting it, so that's why it doesn't work, and protection doesn't even get around like wrath effects. I don't know, protection is like complicated. If you really want to know what protection does exactly, you should look at the rules or something. But yeah, protection just like does and doesn't protect from a bunch of different things, and it's very understandable for my opponent not to be 100% clear on that. That being said, their mistake is probably not going to cost them very much, because I'm probably just going to win this game anyway, or at least the Ailsid is just 1 damage to their face anyway because of this Mayhem Devil, so in the grand scheme of things, it's most likely not going to matter very much. And I'll take another Scry. I guess I keep a Braid on top. It's just cheap interaction, right? Oh, perfect, because now I actually get to activate Castle Lochlann in the same turn as well. I'll deal 3. And then I'm going to activate Castle Lock Queen now, because if I hit a land, I want to be able to play it. One thing that could happen is I get stuck with a bunch of lands in hand, and then I'm drawing more lands per turn than I can play, and all of a sudden this Castle Lock range gets worse because I'm taking damage from it. So that's something I want to avoid. Yeah, Heliod is online. I need an answer for that. Also, it's going to start giving lifelink and stuff. So, could use a hit off this castle. Okay. I got a little bit punished for playing that Cauldron Familiar rather than holding it in hand and waiting for a 3-drop. I was considering it, to be honest, but I thought that it wasn't worth it. Leyline of Sanctity. Yeah, not super sure about that one. Doesn't really get around Cat Oven for one. I guess it gets around Mayhem Devil and Priest of the Forgotten Gods is the 2 cards that it's good against. Maybe that means I need to board out some number of Priests. But Priest of the Forgotten Gods is just so good, though. Yeah, unfortunately for my opponent, they're not going to get any lifelink damage. And I have a lot of draws to find lethal here. Another Oven, another Cat, another Devil, another Akroxa, like something with 4 toughness. Yeah, okay. Actually, I mean, they were just dead because I could escape the Woe Strider and then sack it to Witch's Oven. That's 3 food. I get to reanimate Cat 3 times, so it doesn't even matter what I hit. Wait, actually, on second thought, that was not a good idea at all. I just missed lethal because I decided, I'll go for the Mayhem Devil, whatever. They actually have a Leyline of Sanctity out. So, yeah. This, I can't target them, meaning I'm not going to be able to kill them. I'm going to kill them next turn, and I'm still going to win this game, but I could have just sacrificed Woe Strider to Witch's Oven. Actually, I guess I didn't miss lethal. Never mind all of that. That's actually the best play to make. I'm going to give lifelink. I'm going to sacrifice it, shoot the Skyclave Apparition, and I'm going to concede. All right. Well, that's pretty good. I mean, drawing Mayhem Devil is usually a pretty strong strategy against a deck with a bunch of 1/1s and 2/2s, and I guess all there is to do is run it back. Alright, game 3, and this is again a great hand. This time I think probably the best of the 3 hands of the 3 games. I have Claim and Abrade, as well as Mayhem Devil. There's my 3rd land, so this game is probably going to go pretty well if I had to wager. Yep, unfortunately that's a 3/3, which gets abraded. Noxious Grasp is again just a removal spell that gains me life. Look at me, a little life gain deck. That's unfortunate. Yikes. Probably shouldn't have cast that Abrade. Wow, really? I mean, it didn't see any game 2, and I mean, they're running Collected Company. But I mean, yeah, Grafticos Cage is a good card against a lot of decks in Historic. Like, what can I really say? All on top. Fortunately for me, my opponent's not doing too hot. They're missing their land drops for 1. Resolve, but you know, it's getting infinitely if you're Soul Warden means that they're getting a whole lot less, though. Definitely keep a land on top. Lets me cast a 3-drop and claim the Firstborn in the same turn. It's good with Midnight Reaper because I want to be hitting my land drops for that. Illicit of Life's Bounty is probably not the most powerful card my opponent could have here. They seem to agree, and that's match number 2. Again, this deck just beats up on creature decks, absolutely destroys them. And, well, I'll see you back in time for match number 3. Alright, this is match number 3 against 1337 Erhusen, so I have no idea what that means. And I guess I'll keep this 5-lander. It's got 2 good cards, Priest of Forgotten Gods and Midnight Reaper. And I guess we'll see where my draw steps take me. A swamp. Okay, well, Witch's Oven. If I find a Cauldron Familiar, it's going to be quite good also. My opponent's probably got removal, so... Oh, is it the mirror or is this mono black? Well, I guess I'll play my Priest. And now I get to play a Midnight Reaper, and then if my opponent tries removing it, I still get card advantage. Does look like it's mono black though. Wow, Witch's Oven is just great here. I get to fizzle their Midnight Reaper, so they don't take 2 damage, but they also don't get a 2/3 lifelinker to cast later. And I'm just gonna play Midnight Woestrider. Midnight Reaper. No, I was right the first time. Woestrider, because I think Mayhem Devil is higher value. That's annoying. Well, now I just have to block here, because they're gonna make me sacrifice both anyway, so I might as well take less damage. And I don't really have a good answer to Rankle except for drawing Cauldron Familiar, because that's a lot of cards to discard in one turn. So I guess I'll discard Scrap Heap Scrounger. Actually, I don't need Phyrexian Tower, I don't think. I'm gonna discard a Gutter Bones. Okay, I guess this does help with sacrificing 3 permanents in a turn. If I play Mayhem Devil next turn and then like sacrifice a food and a goat and this Fable Passage, that'll get me there. Depends on what my opponent does with Rankle, of course, but I can discard this Scrap Heap Scrounger pretty much for free. It's unfortunate. That is not what I wanted to see. That's also not what I wanted to see. I guess my opponent's on nothing. They get to make me discard for free, though. And that's not what I want. I guess I'm just sacrificing food and scroungering. Scrounging for scraps. Discards. Yeah, well, I guess I'll discard this Scrap Heap, since I want to actually escape this Woestrider, I think. Or I could cast Woestrider and get back Scrap Heap Scrounger. That's probably even better, I think. Go ahead and pass the turn. See what my opponent does. It's 4 damage with a turn with Rankle if they want to make me draw, but I have food tokens galore. And I guess they get to get back Gutter Bones, but it's honestly fine. I mean, I already have a Chump Block. Also this Scrap Heap Scrounger. And yeah, I guess I get to put some power in play, but so do I, to be fair. Now I'll get my own Scrap Heap Scrounger into play. This has almost the mirror, even though we're like, I'm Rakdos and they're just mono black. We have a lot of the same cards and a lot of the same synergies. Like, Rankle is definitely like a 65th card for this deck, so my opponent activating it is not the end of the world for me. As a lot of the abilities, since they're symmetrical, just don't really affect me that much. Go and attack here, I think. If my opponent lets me, of course. Sir, can I attack for turn? Would that be allowed by you, sir? Mr. Hosen, may I please attack you? I'll take that as a yes. And then next turn, I just get to eat a bunch of food. As if it's the Last Supper. I'm just gonna cook some goats and eat them up. It's not something I expected to say today, but here we are. They're gonna bring back their own Scrap Heap Scrounger. My mouth keeps going faster than my brain. Oh, really? That's aggressive. I guess it's only 1 life, but 1 life is 1 life. You know, every 60 seconds in Africa, a minute passes. Yeah, they're gonna hit me with Rankle. Maybe they should have done that. No, actually, that's probably fine. If they were gonna activate Castle Lockland, because making, like, the discard effect, I don't have any cards in hand, so making me discard, probably not super effective. Oh, so they're just dead? Hello? 3, 8, 11? Right? Oh, they're gonna make me sacrifice. Okay, fair enough, I guess. I'll scry Stitcher Supplier to the top, actually. That lets me escape Woestrider, so it's pretty much a card in and of itself. It lets me escape Woestrider, leaves me some cards for the Scrap Heap Scrounger to go through. Alright, I also get to make food. It's cheap, so I can like play it, sack it to Witch's Oven, eat 2 food, gain 6, do some attacks. They're gonna make me sacrifice a creature here. It's probably gonna be Woestrider. Sacrifice a creature, yeah. Yeah, I think it's that's probably Woestrider. Because I'm actively incentivized to escape Woestrider. Gets back bigger, I get a token. Both of those things are good. In this case, though, I'm just playing Stitcher Supplier. Gaining a bunch. Oh, wow. I see how it is. If that card in my opponent's hand is a land, then I win the game. But if it's not, then I lose the game if I decide to sacrifice Stitcher Supplier and cast Kroxa. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not worth it to do it, to be honest. I'm just trying to think. Because, like, the problem is, like, I think I win this game if I get to, if I survive the turn, because I have attacks and stuff. So it's probably not worth it, because then I could have drawn just, like, some dorky thing or, like, a 4-drop that they can't cast. Go ahead and sack that, eat some food to ensure that I don't die. Not dying does seem like a pretty prudent course of action. And then I get to just force them to have multiple removal spells, right? They can like Deadlands my Scrap Heap Scrounger and then Fatal Push my Woestrider, but then I've just got Kroxa to kill them, so. My opponent's gonna need a lot of things if they're gonna survive this one. They do get to draw a card if they want to at the cost of a life. That's fine, and I can just theoretically survive for a bunch more turns with this oven and just eating food. Sacrifice a creature. Oh yeah, true. I guess yeah. Ooh, a Witch's Oven does not actually do anything. Well, I mean, my opponent's gonna need some cards. I still have to deal with this Woestrider somehow. And that's not gonna do it. And that's gonna do it, but not for them. Or actually, do it to them. And I guess it's time to bring in some cards. So, Braids in, Soul Guide Lantern in. Question is, do I want Witch's Vengeance? Scrap Heap Scroungers out, I think. Midnight Reaper out. Zombie, Construct, Skeleton, Warrior, Rogue. They've got the 4/4 doesn't even get hit by that. Plus I don't get to play Gigantha. Yeah, it's probably not worth it, is it? And I think I keep Kroxa because my opponent's got a lot of like discard shenanigans, but also I don't think I want Scrap Heap Scrounger because I'm going to be doing a lot of blocking, and I think I'm more the control deck in this match. Especially with this hand. I mean, Cat Oven is a great way to play control. Didn't actually think that went through a ton, but my point is, Cauldron Familiar plus Witch's Oven is going to lengthen the game, make it hard for my opponent to win, and then I'm going to win the long game. In the meantime, though, I think I'm just ensuring that I hit 3-man on curve, possibly for Mayhem Devil, though I could just like play Kroxa, sack it to Witch's Oven. Would also be good, and then I could like throw in a Clan of Firstborn for extra value. something. Depends on what my opponent's doing. Luckily, I am not enabling the one with the animation that goes like, you know, spectacle. There we go. Got there in the end. Not enabling spectacle, so they can't play that idiot 4/4 trample dude. Yeah, I think I'll block, to be honest. Scrappy Scoundrel only knows to block. This cat. Wait, no. Scrappy Scoundrel only knows to attack, and this cat knows only blocking. Out of the Ebon Legion. I see. In a Gutter Bones. Well, I don't know why there was a stop there. Usually it doesn't let you pass to end, it just goes to end. But either way. You know what? I'ma just play this Croxa. Sack to Witch's Oven. And then play Witch's Oven. This means that even if my opponent does have a removal spell, I'm gonna have a better Mayhem Devil turn in the future this way. Whereas if I just play Mayhem Devil now, I get to kill these two, but if they play something like a 4/4, I won't be able to kill it, whereas if they do play the 4/4 next turn, or like a Rankle, then I can just like kill a bunch of stuff in one turn because I have more ovens going. Opponent, pick a card, any card. Just one, pick a card. Any day, opponent. If I win this match, I'll be in numbers. That's exciting. Probably should be carrying a little bit more since it's almost the end of the month, and 12,200 is nice. It's the 27th as of recording this, so it's probably going to be like the 27th of next month when this video comes out, but we'll see. Yeah, opponent really just does not know what they want to discard, do they? Alright, I mean, it's a hard choice, but they've only got 3 cards, so how hard can it be, right? It's gonna be a Heartless Act. Wait, what? Okay. Well, I mean, that kills Mayhem Devil, so I guess I'll take the validation for my correct play, but Heartless Act. Actually, here's the thing also. Now that I have a whole pile of food, I can, sacrifice... Oh, really? Really? Pre-combat. Really? Yeah, not sure about that one, Chief. If they had not done it pre-combat, I would have had to decide whether I want to block Net of the Ebon Legion and risk them not pumping it and taking me more damage as they play like another thing, or they do pump it and I block the Scrappy Scoundrel, and then obviously that's also bad. So... And also it's weird because they discard a Heartless Act, which is really good, right? Now I have the Mayhem Devil, they need something to deal with it, but also they didn't do anything with their turn, so maybe they've just got like mono removal spells. Just a removal spell tribal up in there. Who knows? Either way, I'm going to kill the Knight of the Ebon Legion before it can pump itself, and potentially create an awkward scenario where I have to like jump through a bunch of hoops to kill it, and then like send more damage at it than I need to, and waste pings. And yeah, now it's just up to my opponent. See what they decide to do. Crawling Barons, just not worry about at all. What? Okay, well, you know what? I think I'm actually just gonna not block with Mayhem Devil just in... I know what they did that. I know what they did that. Why they did that. They're trying to enable Revolt for Fatal Push, aren't they? Yes, they are. Well, how about no? Boom. Outplayed. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. No Fatal Pushing for you. No, sir-e. What? What? Excuse me, what? Oh, this is not good. This is not good. I'm just no idea what's going on. Why did all my things get exiled? Can someone please explain what just happened to me? Because I am not cognizant of it. Why are they playing Shadow's Verdict? That's literally a board wipe. Aren't they playing a creatures deck? It exiles their cards. Like, they exiled their Gutter Bones and their Scrappy Scrounger. Like, what is going on? Shadow's Verdict in this economy. And now it's just gonna play Gifted Etherborn. Okay. Okay. And a Dread Wanderer. Of course, just playing board wipes in a deck that loses to a board wipe. Of course. Why didn't I think of that? Wow, my opponent's just 5-heading right through this match. Like, I should have thought of that. I should just have played, like, Storm's Wrath in this deck. Oh, wow. That's actually embarrassing that I made such a bad deck choice in my sideboard cards, especially. Like, what am I even doing, you know? Oh, yes, activate Castle Lock Claim. Ooh, yes, they activated Castle Lock Claim. Oh, that's not good for them. No, that's not good for them. They go to 2 here because of this Clan the Firstborn. Yeah, this does not look good for them at all. If they have a removal spell, they're sort of fine. They can bring back this Dread Wanderer too because of what's its face? Because they don't have any cards in hand. But I mean, I get to put them to 2. I guess I need to play around another Shadow's Verdict. Is the thing. I guess I'll keep that on top. Something to do, right? The problem is I can't play around Shadow's Verdict too well because if I don't do this, then I just don't win, right? They don't have Shadow's Verdict, but they have like random removal spell, and then they bring back Dread. Like, actually no. Yeah, but they have like 2 removal spells, and I'm just dead, right? Like, they have a blocker, and now they have a Fatal Push, and they just don't die. But before, if I hadn't played the Wolf Strider, they just wouldn't be dead right now. To be fair, I do have this Braid. Then we're going to bring back Dread Wanderer. Okay, this looks like game to me. I mean, even Fatal Push doesn't save them at this point, and yeah. Okay, well, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be a quick 3-0. Back into numbers from the depths of 97% Mythic, and yeah, I mean, this deck's great. Like, it's one of the best decks in Historic. It's tier 1 Rakdos Sacrifice, especially with the new addition of Scrappy Scrounger. So let's just like go over the deck again and do some wrap-up stuff for the video. And I'll send you off all on your way. I'm going to move my face again. Skirt. There we go. Now you can even see the deck. So privileged. And yeah, so basically, I think what changes you may make to the deck is Chandra Torch of Defiance is good. It's sometimes like a 1 or 2 of in the main deck and the sideboard. Scrappy Scrounger is anywhere between 2 and a 4 of. Croak is between anywhere to 0 or 2. Stitcher Supplier is a 3 or 4 of. Midnight Reaper is a 3 or 4 of. You can have random cards like Call the Death Dweller and stuff. It's especially good to give Mayhem Devil Death Touch. There are a lot of lists floating around, but the core of the deck is obviously 4 Cat, 4 Claim, 4 Oven. Though, to be fair, there are some decks running 3 Claim, 4 Priest, 2 Scrounger, 4 Wolf Strider, 4 Mayhem Devil, and then obviously the mana base. 2 Phyrexian Towers pretty much given, and then the Fabled Passages because they're synergy with Mayhem Devil and Escape cards. And then finally, you do want to be running Blood Crypts and stuff. Only 3 Dragon Skull Summits because Castle Lockthway needs enough swamps, as well as just Fabled Passage because you're milling yourself a lot. But mainly, the one thing about this mana base is it runs 2 Castle Lockthway and makes some adjustments for that. And I think Castle Lockthway is just really, really powerful, especially in this deck, which has a bunch of cheap cards. So it's not going to have too many cards in hand a lot of the time. It also tends to get into the long game occasionally. And this deck has a lot of reach with like Croxa and Cat and Mayhem Devil and stuff like that. So Castle Lockthway can like get you out of some situations by just killing your opponent. And it also requires that you play enough swamps for it to be untapped. So the mana base for this deck is actually a little bit clunky for an aggro deck. This deck's sort of an aggro synergy deck, but an aggro deck nonetheless because it's trying to kill your opponent pretty quickly, ideally. So really, once the double-faced lands, the black-red ones come out with Kaldheim, this mana base can be better. Could also use black-red fast lands, though. Those are from a really old set, which we might not be seeing on Arena anytime soon, so I guess we'll have to just make do with what we have. But yeah, overall this deck is great. Went 3-0 with it. I think it's really fun to play. You get a lot of decisions and triggers and stuff like that. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, each and every one of you. If you enjoyed the video, let me know with the like down below, comment, whatever. I'll be sure to look at all of them. Subscribe if you haven't already. It helps me out, encourages me, does all that stuff, and will notify you of all my new videos if you want to be notified about them. And that's all. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.